Right, so this is a comparison video between a Dura Ace 9000 C24 front wheel and an Ultegra 6800 front wheel. So as usual, I'm going to take this to a fairly silly level of detail. On the screen you can see that I've taken them both apart. I'm going to compare like for like, so I'll compare the hub shell of both, the bearings of both, the spokes of both, the rims of both, the axle of both, etc. So we can see exactly what the difference is between these two wheels. This should be pretty interesting as it is, but I also think it will give you a bit of an insight into the general differences between Dura Ace and Ultegra, and will help you gain a deeper understanding of the machining differences between the two across all of the components of both group sets. And it will help you understand the decisions that Shimano make when they design their Dura Ace range and their Ultegra range as well. All right, here's my trusty Tanita scales then. I'm just going to start weighing like for like then. So first of all, here is the Ultegra hub shell. 85 grams. Dura Ace one, 77 grams. The full Ultegra axle assembly is 83 grams. And the full Dura Ace axle assembly is 59 grams, so that is significantly less. One full Ultegra spoke assembly, which is the spoke and the end piece and the nipple system, 6 grams. And one Dura Ace spoke system, 6 grams. I suspect these are the same item. Ultegra rim, which took about 3 minutes to balance, 419 grams. Dura Ace rim, 392 grams. All right, let's go into some more detail then. First, we'll look at the hub shell. I'll explain the general system with the Ultegra one. This also applies to the Dura Ace one because they're basically the same thing. So this main body, I believe, is aluminium, and they've pressed in a steel bearing race on both sides. This also is exactly the same on the Dura Ace. They've machined out holes here, I believe, just to save weight. These holes here are where the spokes go, and that's it really. It's fairly simple, quite attractive, I think. Now, holding the Dura Ace one next to it, the dimensions are exactly the same. The hub flange is the same. The width is the same. Internally you can see the pressed in steel bearing race in both. But here you can start to see the difference between the Ultegra and the Dura Ace one. The Dura Ace has got more material machined out, which makes it lighter. You can see they've machined more out here as well compared to the Ultegra. Yeah, so basically it's the same thing, they've just machined it out more, which is where part of the cost comes from, because of course more machining equals more money per unit. But there you go, that's the difference between the two. Alright, so now I will explain the Ultegra axle system as a whole. Everything I say here also applies to the Dura Ace one, because they work in exactly the same way. I'll compare it with the Dura Ace one in terms of weight and also in terms of how they've machined it as well. So, this is a hollow axle, of course, has to be hollow so you can get your skewer through it. These are the two bearings. These are steel balls. This is a cover that goes over the end to stop gunk getting in there. There's also one on this side which is fixed on. Okay, you can get it off if you take this end piece off. The way this works is this is the locating bearing, so this sits in position, doesn't move. Then the locating bearing sits here and goes into the hub. And then the adjustment, the preload on the bearing is done from this side. All right. Now the preload works like this. The end cap here, which is the bit that sits in your dropouts. Then you've got a washer here. Here you've got a finger adjustable locking system, and here is the preload adjuster. So what happens is this tightens up and pushes this bearing in, and then when you get it to where you want it, you lock it down with this part here. Okay, so then that doesn't move, and then the whole system is locked down with this end cap. Pretty good system. These parts here are the rubber shields for the bearings. So that's the Ultegra one. This is the Dura Ace one. It's got all the same parts. So you've got the bearings there, the adjustable race here, you've got the locking system, the end caps in here. It's the same thing. If you compare them side by side, they are the same system, okay? Now the difference between the Ultegra one and the Dura Ace one is quite a bit of weight. So what I'll do is I will take these apart and we'll weigh each bit so we can see where the extra weight's coming from on the Ultegra one, okay? Generally speaking though, this is the Dura Ace one, this is the Ultegra one. The Dura Ace one is more refined. You can see the bearings are smaller, they're using slightly smaller balls. The machining is sort of more elegant. This uses sort of quite simple machining on all the parts. This one though, they've machined it right down. It almost takes on a sort of jewellery appearance rather than a sort of heavy industrial appearance of the Ultegra one. So we're going to do Ultegra on the right and Dura Ace on the left for each part so you know what's going on. Okay, so the end caps then. The Dura Ace one on the left and the Ultegra one on the right. You can see the Dura Ace one is made up of two parts, whereas the Ultegra one is just machined out of a single bit of metal. There you go, 9 grams on the Ultegra, 6 grams on the Dura Ace. The Ultegra washer, Dura Ace washer, 0 grams. And 0 grams, okay. Here you can start to see the machining differences. Ultegra on the right and the Dura Ace on the left. This is the preload adjuster, which also doubles as the bearing race. Now the Dura Ace one is much more machined down and refined. So let's compare the weight. 10 grams for Ultegra, 6 grams Dura Ace, right. Okay, so these are the bearings then. The Ultegra bearings are physically bigger and there's less of them. 5 grams Ultegra, 4 grams Dura Ace. Now there are 2 of these, so that's 8 grams for the Dura Ace and 11 grams for the Ultegra. Another big difference between the two, the locking system. The Ultegra one is much more roughly made. The Dura Ace one is really fine here and far more elegant. It's a harder plastic as well. This feels a bit soft. Ultegra 2, Dura Ace 4. Right, okay. So they've sacrificed a little bit of weight there for a more elegant device. It's interesting. Right then, this is the axle time. Okay, Dura Ace left and Ultegra right. You can see that the end cap system here is much bigger and more sort of clunky on the Ultegra. The Dura Ace is far more refined. I mean, I can feel the weight difference in my hand already. The way the cone sits on the end of the Ultegra on here seems a bit rough. On the Dura Ace one, it seems very nice. Anyway, let's weigh it. 45 grams for the Ultegra, 33 for the Dura Ace. Right, so it's much lighter and more refined. Now, this is a fully assembled Ultegra hub, all right, with the axle in. 168 grams fully assembled. This is the Dura Ace one fully assembled. You can see the end is more refined. It's not so sort of chunky around here. 135 grams, so quite a bit lighter. Now, it has to be said that the only advantage Dura Ace has over the Ultegra hub is weight. In terms of function, they are identical. They both use exactly the same bearing system. They both use the same axle system, and the hub shell is, for all intents and purposes, exactly the same, apart from the Dura Ace one has been machined out more. The axle is more refined on the Dura Ace, but that has no mechanical effect at all. That's purely weight, okay? And I believe a little bit of vanity in the machining, which is fair enough. So in terms of actually how it works, how it spins, you know, stiffness and all that kind of shite, the Ultegra and the Dura Ace is identical. There's no difference. The Dura Ace is just lighter, right? That's it. Next up, we can look at the spokes. Now, the spoke system on the Ultegra and the Dura Ace work in exactly the same way. And they work like this. They have a screw-on end piece. This bit sits inside the hub flange in here. At the other end, this part screws in to the rim, okay? Now, the Ultegra rim is slightly different to the Dura Ace rim, but the spoke system works in exactly the same way. There's no difference between the Ultegra spoke and the Dura Ace spoke. And as we've seen, they weigh the same as well. So I'm going to say they are exactly the same. At the bottom, we have the Dura Ace one. And at the top, we've got the Ultegra one. Now, the different colour, of course. but I really think that's it. They work in exactly the same way. Now I've screwed the Ultegra one into the Dura Ace rim, and I've screwed the Dura Ace one into the Ultegra rim. They fit fine. So the pitch of the thread is exactly the same. They're the same thing, they're just different colours. The end system works in exactly the same way, all right? These things are the same. The spoke profile is identical. The Dura Ace one and the Ultegra one is a different colour, but that's it. So the spokes on the Dura Ace wheel and the spokes on the Ultegra wheel are the same item, okay, just different colours. Last up then, we're going to look at the rim. Now, as I just said, the rim on the Ultegra and the rim on the Dura Ace work in exactly the same way. This here is the Ultegra rim, and this is an Ultegra spoke. And the spoke screws in to the rim like that, and then at the other end is connected to the hub. The more you screw that in, the more tension is added to the spoke. The Dura Ace rim works in exactly the same way. This is the Ultegra, that's the Dura Ace. The Ultegra is a full metal rim, okay, I believe aluminium. The Dura Ace is an aluminium rim with a carbon laminate on it. I've made another video about these wheels, and I went into great detail about the way the carbon laminate works, so check that out if you want some real geeky information. But just to summarise, the Ultegra one is full metal, and this one is metal with a carbon laminate, which is where the weight saving comes in. Now, there is a slight other difference as well, in that the hole the spoke screws into on the Ultegra rim is cut straight into the material of the rim. On the Dura Ace, because it uses this carbon laminate system, it has this thing under the carbon laminate that the spoke screws into. So effectively, this part of the Ultegra rim is this part in the Dura Ace rim. So, what advantage does the Dura Ace have over the Ultegra? I believe it is purely weight. I can't really see any other advantage. The hubs work in exactly the same way. The spokes are the same item, and the rims work in the same way. It could be argued that this carbon laminate on the Dura Ace makes for a slightly different ride, but that is what hi-fi interconnect bullshit territory you're going down, and placebo, I believe. So would you lose a race by having Ultegra wheels instead of Dura Ace wheels? No, you fucking wouldn't. No way. In fact, the Ultegra rims are slightly deeper than the Dura Ace rims. So technically, they are a deeper profile rim and should actually be ever so slightly faster. So there you go.